Welcome everyone to the ISP Parent Talks, the A to Z of Future Careers series. Today we have Jan Horn, Managing Director of SAE Dubai, talking to you about design, media and careers in the creative economy moving forwards. So we're really excited to have Jan deliver this session. SAE Dubai offers hands-on training and degree level courses in design, media and the creative industry. So it's really, really exciting to have Jan deliver this session for us. Just as a reminder, at ISP, the Future Pathway is an offering that provides knowledge, skills and understanding for parents, advisors and schools to support each ISP student to make informed decisions and be successful now and in the future, and ultimately supporting students to reach their destination of choice. So this series is our commitment to supporting our parents and carers to support their child to discover their passions and reach that destination of choice. Okay, so without further ado, Jan, thank you very much for joining us. Please go ahead.
Thank you so much, and thank you for the opportunity. It's fantastic to be here. SAE, as you mentioned, I'm speaking out of the context of SAE here in Dubai, where we have been since 2005. However, SAE is also globally represented with about 47 campuses in 23 countries. So I'm sure that through the ISP Schools Network, this will be relevant to you as well. My specific topic related to design and media and future careers, design and media, is obviously something that we at SAE are very passionate about, and something that I've been working on and with for the last around 20 years of my career. I named or titled this presentation From Passion to Profession, Crafting Careers in the Creative Economy. And the reason why I did that is because anybody that follows a career in design or in media-related programs are usually somebody that is driven by their passion for creative endeavors. However, it is usually not clear to parents and to students how to turn that passion for their creative skill into a profession. And that's the starting point that I want to take. So I'm going to start off by posing a question and actually setting the scene with a problem. And this problem and the question is the biggest challenge that are being faced by youth today. There are many studies that have been done around the world where the youth have been surveyed to identify what they believe is the biggest problem facing young people in the era that we're currently finding ourselves in. And it was interesting that all around the world, youth have identified youth unemployment as the biggest problem facing young people around the world today. The fact that they cannot find jobs, they cannot find employment, and the difficulty accessing that first step into the job market. And the fact that the job market is constantly changing and requiring people with very specific skills and experience, while they have not yet had the opportunity to develop those skills and experience necessarily. So if we look at some trends that happen around the world, we will see that this graph shows the youth unemployment around the world since 2000 until 2023. And we can see that there certainly has been a growth and an increase in youth unemployment all around the world. And this is an aspect or something that is really causing high levels of anxiety with young people, and not just with young people, but also their parents. Because if you as a parent are going to be spending or investing a significant amount of money into sponsoring your child's education, you want to have some kind of an indication of what is the potential for employment with that qualification that you have pursued. And with growing youth unemployment, this creates a gap between the graduates and the opportunities that exist there. So what I want to put forward is that there is a potential solution. I'm not saying that this solution is going to be the solution to solve the complete problem, but it certainly is a solution to many young people who have a passion and a talent for for the creative industries, but because there is such a huge misunderstanding between parents and students, and so many people that are the role players in this, they don't know about the opportunities that exist in the creative industries. So I'm hoping that through this presentation, I can give you some insights into what the creative industries is and what the creative economy is. Most people have actually never heard of this. I'm going to be doing this in the context of the region that I find myself right now, and this is within the UAE, the United Arab Emirates, and where we work from in Dubai and the Middle East, but also in the context of a global impact. So first of all, let me talk a little bit about the creative economy. What is this thing called the creative economy? Most people think, or most people's understanding of the economy of a country is that the way the country generates revenue, or the GDP for the country. In a country like the UAE, for example, and Dubai, most people think that this is a wealthy country because of oil wealth, which is actually not really true. And I'm going to unpack that for you. In simple terms, the creative economy is the ability for people to earn income and to have career opportunities through the pursuit of creative activities and ideas. In other words, to build a well-paid profession out of the skills and the talents that you have that are related to creativity. In the context of what we're talking about, we talk about skills and industries like animation, audio engineering, design, visual communication, film production, game development, game design, augmented reality, virtual reality, digital content creation, and all of these new media technologies that are sweeping the globe. Many of these activities and many of these industries are, unfortunately, if students are talented in any one of these areas, many people will see it as a hobby. This is something that you do as a hobby. This is something that you do to keep yourself stimulated on a creative level. But what very few people actually realize is that if you become a specialist in one of these creative media disciplines, there is the potential to enter into an industry where you can turn that natural talent for creative endeavors into a very well-paid and rewarding career. So the creative economy is really the ability to use creative media to do two things. In the first place, to tell stories. That's what most creative media talent do. They tell stories, and secondly, they solve problems. And there are people and industries out there that are willing to pay really good money for people that have the ability to use creative media and use their creative skills in order to tell stories and to solve problems. So in a very simplistic way, the creative economy is driven by a creative media industry where people work in using these different disciplines to tell stories and to solve problems. Now, what very few people also know is that over the last, let's say, 10 years, this concept of the creative economy has really become a focus point of growth for many countries all over the world. Around 40 countries since 2005 have officially committed to transforming their economy from a traditional economy that is driven by products or services, like, for example, maybe in the Middle East, the product would be oil, and the service might be something like tourism, and have started committing investment towards changing the economy from one that is driven by products and services to one that is driven by creative endeavors and creative media related industries. So about 40 countries have done this officially since 2005. Now, what this has also caused is that there has been a huge growth in employment opportunities for students that are qualified and skilled to join these economies. Unfortunately, because these creative industries are not necessarily in the more well-known career paths like engineering or medicine or business or finance or the traditional directions that students would follow to get into a well-paid career, they are just not as prominent and as well-known as something like law, or business or finance or accounting, for example. The projection is that over the next 5 to 10 years, the creative economy globally will be generating more than 430 million new jobs over the next 8 years. Now, this is jobs that exist within the creative economy only. We're not talking about jobs that exist outside of the creative economy. We're talking about jobs that are related to the different disciplines that I described earlier. Disciplines like animation, film, design. And design can be anything like fashion design, product design. It can be related to audio engineering, maybe game development and game design. It can be related to interior design, anything where somebody uses their creative skill to come up with a solution to a problem. And these new jobs is what I am putting forward as a possible solution to this challenge that we are facing of youth not being able to find jobs in the job market. The reason why this is the case is because many young people are never given the opportunity to pursue a career in the creative media industry because it is so misunderstood. And it is not understood that this thing that is seen as a hobby or a skill can actually lead to a well-paid career. Now, just as some examples, and these examples that I'm going to put forward are specifically from the region that we find ourselves in here in Dubai, but they are an example of the UAE, specifically Dubai as well, following the global trend of shifting the economy and creating opportunities within the creative media sector. This is an announcement that was made some time ago by the ruler of Dubai, His Highness Sheikh Mohammed bin Rashid Al Maktoum himself, where he announced that they have launched a strategic program to make Dubai a global capital of the creative economy. They aim to increase the number of creative firms that are situated here within the region from 8,000 to 15,000, and creative professionals from 70,000 to 150,000 over the next 5 years. And you can see the effect that that will then have on the GDP growth that specifically comes from this industry. Now, as I said, most people in this region, when they choose a career path, once they complete their studies at school, would mostly be in the more traditional direction, like engineering, medicine, law, business, finance, and so forth, which is obviously all really great, fantastic career choices. However, what very few people know is that there are so many growing opportunities that are being developed and created by the growth in this industry. And because people are not aware of it, they never consider it. Another one is an example here where Dubai plans to grow the creative economy by 25% over the next number of years, 5 to 10 years. One of the big things that have happened here in our region, in Abu Dhabi, which is the capital of the UAE, is the development of a creative hub in the area of Yas Island, which is a development that is showing unprecedented growth here in the UAE and in the Middle East. This creative hub on Yas Island has become one of the biggest hubs for creative media industries, not only here in the UAE, but certainly within the Middle East, and one of the biggest growth points for the creative media industry in the world. And the reason why this is happening is because the Middle East and the leadership of this region have realized that at some point they have to transition from a product-based economy to something that is more sustainable over the long term and follow the trend that has been happening with 40 countries around the world and create an economy that is built on creativity and innovation. So in this creative hub, and this is just some examples of what is happening there, this is what it looks like, has been established in order to drive a center for creative media industries and innovation, and obviously creating huge employment opportunities. And like I said, although I use Abu Dhabi, the UAE, and Dubai as the case study, because this is where we are situated, this is a trend that is happening all over the world. I show this picture when I speak to parents and groups of students at schools, and I usually ask them about what they think this represents. And usually the answer that I get from them is that this looks like a music concert. Maybe it's Taylor Swift performing in front of thousands of screaming 14 to 16-year-old fans. Maybe it's a big sporting event. Maybe it's a MMA, UFC, or a boxing event. But what it actually is this image is an image that shows an esports gaming event that is happening in an arena and a theater filled with 75,000 fans, where there are two esports gamers playing an online game on the little stage in the middle. And this event is being streamed to viewers across the world on online platforms to about 500 million people internationally. And this is an example of what is happening in the new media creative industries that we as older people and as parents and as teachers and as career counselors are not even aware of. I'm not saying that young people out there that are interested in gaming should all aspire to become esports participants. I'm saying that this industry that is represented by this event requires the skills that are developed by the creative media industry. Game developers, animators, designers, film production specialists, set builders, lighting specialists, graphic designers, people that stream this event all over the world. These skills are the new skills of the new era and the new technologies that are sweeping across the world. Not even to talk about the impact of artificial intelligence and how that is going to impact our lives as it currently is already. Just another example of an announcement that was made recently here, and this was by Prince Hamdan bin Mohammed, and he also referred to the Dubai gaming program that was launched in 2023, and that it will make a contribution of about $1 billion and creating 30,000 new jobs in the economy of Dubai. This is huge. This brings fantastic opportunities for people that have the skills to join into this growing industry. Of course, as we know, Saudi Arabia is a sleeping giant and is awakening. And after the announcement that was made in the UAE about the growth of the gaming industry, Saudi Arabia announced that they will be launching a World Cup in esports. Now, again, this is relevant to our region, but this region in the Middle East is starting to play catch-up to what has already been happening all over the world in so many countries. Now, every year, the World Economic Forum publishes a study where they look at what skills would be needed in the workplace of the future in order for current young people to be employable in the workplace of the future. The current study that we use as a reference refers to the workplace of 2025. Of course, it's just around the corner. Next year, 2025 is already upon us, but it is very interesting to see what was found by this global study that was done by the World Economic Forum. What they found that was by 2025, about 50% of all employees would need to be reskilled in order to bring skills to the workplace that will make them relevant in the workplace. And top of that list, if we just take the top 10 skills that is relevant in the workplace of the future, we're talking about analytical thinking and innovation. We're talking about active learning and learning strategies. We're talking about problem solving, critical thinking, creativity, originality. Now, if you can remember, when I contextualized what creative media is and what people in the creative media industry does, it is to tell stories and it is to solve problems. And this is what the workplace of the future is aspiring for young people to have. Also, in this report from the World Economic Forum, they listed some reasons why it is recommended that people upskill themselves with skills that will fit into the workplace of the future. And the reason for that is also that Once you have these skills and you have the ability to use creative media and create and fit into the creative industries and use your creativity in order to solve problems and to tell stories, you cannot be replaced by automation. Artificial intelligence is something that will become part of all of our lives. All creatives currently probably uses some kind of an artificial intelligence process as part of their creative process, but they will never be replaced by AI. The other things like transferable skills and the fact that creatives can work from anywhere in the world and become a digital native and a digital employee that can work from anywhere means that they are immune to the impacts like the pandemic, for example, where people could not go to the office to work. The one industry that flourished during the pandemic was actually the creative media industry, because those people could work from anywhere and they did not even have to transition into a remote working environment because they were already able to do that before the pandemic. So to finish off, the specific careers and disciplines that I have been talking about that provide the skills and the future skills for young people who want to join the creative media industry would be something like animation, for example. At SAE, animation is one of our most popular programs. And this animation skill can be used across so many industries. It is used in anything from medicine, healthcare, education, business, finance, the banking sector. All over they are using animations in the way that they communicate their brands out into the world. Audio engineering has always been one of the anchor programs at SAE, and because of the growth of the economic impact of events all over the world, huge events, where audio engineers are needed in order to take these events around the world, they've become very, very popular. And the growth in the film industry, also in the music industry, so it's very popular and a career choice for many of our students. Design and visual communication and brand communication, product design is something that is currently probably a skill that is needed in any discipline and any business out there. The way that you communicate your brand, the way that you connect with your customers, the way that you represent yourself and content that you create that goes onto your social media platforms. This is a skill that not only now has become relevant, but will be relevant in the future as well. Talking about content creation, film production. Many of our students work not only for themselves, but for companies in order to create content that they use on social media platforms. If you think about it, social media platforms like Instagram, TikTok, and these kind of platforms did not even exist, some of them even 5 to 10 years ago. Today, most companies have got somebody that oversees their content creation, whether it is on TikTok, Instagram, and if you do not exist on these platforms, you're simply invisible. So these career paths are very, very important. Game development, game design, coding, computer engineering, something that has become a base skill in so many industries. So all of these different disciplines are disciplines where students can take skills that they have and the creative talent that they have, turn them into an actual industry-related skill and qualification, and build a really well-paid and rewarding career out of that. Augmented reality, virtual reality, the Web 3.0, the metaverse, all of these kind of technologies are also taking over the world and creating new opportunities for students. So I hope that through this presentation, I was able to show you and clarify what is meant by the creative economy in the first instance, what is meant by the creative media industry and the type of skills that is needed not only now and in the future, that students can develop and use to make themselves relevant in the current workplace and also in the workplace of the future. On the screen right now, you will see my contact details. If you need any further information or want to know anything more about what SAE does, you are welcome to contact us. And I am very thankful for the opportunity to be able to share this presentation with you today. Thank you so much.
Jan, thank you. That was very, very interesting, and very interesting to understand, you know, the context globally as well as locally in the Middle East as well. I'd like to ask a couple of questions just to close now before we part ways. So thanks again for your session. What advice would you give to parents and carers if they had a child interested in, you know, the design, media, creative industries? You know, what would be your, you know, your advice to parents on how they can support and nurture their child to embrace careers in this sector?
Yeah, the first thing that I would suggest is that you have a really good conversation with your child to understand what their real passion is. What we find is that the child usually already has an understanding of where they would want to go with this specific skill because they're exposed to it. You know, the young people of today understand the technologies that are out there in the world much better than we do. So they usually already have an idea which industry they would like to go into with this specific skill. So have that conversation. And then once you know, they will probably tell you, well, I love drawing, but I don't want to become a sketch artist, for example. I want to use my drawing skill to become an animator, and I would love to work as an animator in this industry. So they usually have that idea. So that conversation is very, very important. And then I would recommend that you do a little bit of research in your area to understand two things. First of all, the institutes in your area that could support them with developing the skill. And they usually would be institutes and universities or training institutes that can do this, and also for them to direct you to the industry where they will find placement and jobs. So this is what I would recommend. And you know, spend some time with the child's teachers, especially if they've done a creative subject at school. Maybe they did design, or they did art or something at school. Spend some time with their design teacher and go and talk to them to understand the specific skill that needs to be developed. So I would say communication and conversation is the start of it all.
Okay, that's fantastic advice there for parents and carers to communicate and understand the need and you know the child's want in terms of their direction. You mentioned about the skill sets. You mentioned about, you know, the countries transforming into different industries, diversifying away in terms of reliance on certain sectors. I'm very interested to understand a bit more about, you know, the skill set that will be required within the kind of creative and design industry moving forward in about 5 years' time, 10 years' time. You know, could you summarize the types of skill set that children today will need to develop and in order to be part of that industry?
Right. So there's two categories of skill sets that we're talking about here. On the one side, it's the real technical skills, you know, the vocational skills of being able to work in a very specific industry. So when you talk about creative media and creative skills, we're specifically talking about skills around animation or design, or film production, or editing, or that kind of thing. Those are the very specific vocational skills that students can develop. However, the ones that really make them relevant in the industry is also the transferable soft skills. All right. And these are very, very important, that are developed through the application of these technical skills. So I'm talking about things like design thinking, for example, the ability to think critically, the ability to use problem solving to come up with a solution to a problem, the ability to work in interdisciplinary teams and be multi-skilled to apply technology to solve a problem. So this is something that's going to become, and has become, an absolute baseline in the workplace. I'll give you an example. Everybody is so excited and sometimes confused and maybe even a little bit intimidated by the rise of artificial intelligence. Okay. And everybody wants to know, will artificial intelligence replace our jobs in the workplace? And the response that I give to somebody that asks that question is, artificial intelligence is not going to replace people in the workplace. Artificial intelligence will replace people who does not know how to apply artificial intelligence in their workflow. So if you think about the software that designers use, all right, all the creative software that designers use, whether it is Adobe Creative Suite, the artificial intelligence plugins already exist there. That's the technical skill. However, how you as a designer use that additional plugin within the software to come up with a solution that will satisfy the problem that the client has put forward to you is what's going to make you employable in the workplace of the future.
Yes, absolutely. And just looking at, ISP as a schools group as well, we have a big emphasis in terms of developing life competencies within our student population. And we've got digital literacy, self-leadership, critical thinking, creative thinking, design, you mentioned all of those.
Absolutely.
And we have a deliberate effort at ISP to deliver programs through international learning opportunities for students, to help them hone in and develop those life competencies moving forward, not only to help them embrace, careers of the futures, but to help them identify the best fit destination for them as well. So it's fantastic to know that we are aligned in terms of, how we're trying to support our students, and for parents, I think, and carers thinking about, what they can do. Encouraging students to develop and explore and be curious about these skills is a very good place to start. And then obviously communicate with them about, their preferences, their strengths, and what they enjoy doing. And also having in mind, what is happening in the economy, and what are the opportunities going to be in the future. And it's very, very exciting to speak to you. Obviously based in Dubai, SAE is also a global offering. You have campuses across the world. So it's very, very exciting to have you. So Jan, just leaves me to say thank you very much for your time and for your expertise. We're very, very happy to host your session. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. And it's been a pleasure, and I wish you all the best. And it's great to hear that ISP schools are doing so much to support the students and developing those future skills as well. And thank you so much for the opportunity.